Hola a todos, bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Feel Good Insurance Podcast. En este bonito jueves tengo aquí a un nuevo amigo y compañero. Si puedes introducirte, por favor.
Gracias, Chris. Soy Aron Munoz, en Instagram como King Kutz. Lo que hago es cortar pelo y he cortado pelo como por 4 años.
¿Tan poquito?
Sí, pues apenas voy empezando, ahí poco a poco.
No, en 4
pues,
años es bastante tiempo.
Pero ahí la llevo y he tenido mi licencia como por, quiero decir, 3 años.
Okay.
So I struggled to get my license. No pude pasar el examen, fui como 12, 14 veces para un año completo y pues lo peor es que cada examen costaba $95. Gasté más de $1,000 nomás haciendo exámenes, pero pues gracias a Dios ya tengo mi licencia.
Pero lo importante es que no te rendiste, man. Y eso es lo que vale.
Sí.
Porque mucha gente hubiera dicho, oh, ¿sabes qué? Pues ya no lo pasé. Ya no lo pasé y ahí hay que dejarlo.
Sí.
No hay que dejarlo y me rindo y ya no, tal vez esto no es para mí. Pero imagínate si todos tuviéramos esa mentalidad, ¿me entiendes? Sí. Es como un bebé. Cuando un bebé comienza a caminar, y no le dice, pues no, no es para ti, bebé, no camines.
Sí. No, pues es como, pues cada quien tiene su historia, right? Y yo pienso que es como a lo que vas tú, de que pues le calas y no puedes y llegas a un punto donde dices, sabes que esto no es para mí. Yo creo que yo llegué a ese punto y dije, sabes que no puedo pasar el examen. Yo creo que no voy a cortar pelo porque ya perdí casi toda mi clientela y pues hasta ahí voy a llegar. Y nomás tenía un examen que dije, this is my last test. Si no la paso, hasta ahí voy a llegar. Y hablé con un compañero, bueno, es un compañero ahora, se llama Mikey, y me cortó el pelo. Me acuerdo que era el día de mi cumpleaños, era cuando cumplí 21. Y pues sí le dije, no, pues la neta no puedo pasar el examen y no quiero cortar pelo por lo mismo. Y dice, nada, ¿de qué te agüitas? Yo también duré varias veces intentando y pues no eres el único. Y ya él diciéndome pues varias palabras así, consejos, me animó y me dijo, pues pasando tu examen, aquí tienes tu espacio cuando quieras. Y ya con esos ánimos pues fui a hacer el examen y pues le di con todo y pasé el examen, pero es a lo que voy. Todos llegan a un punto donde dicen, sabes que hasta aquí llegó, pero yo creo que ahí es cuando uno tiene que saber, ok, hay que seguirle y ya estoy a punto de pasar ese obstáculo. Eso es lo que pasó y gracias a Dios pues ya tengo mi licencia. Ya estaba ahí con Mikey, se llama Prestige Hair Studio. Por si cualquier día ocupan un corte, ahí nos echan una llamada a Prestige Hair Studio, pero en eso andamos ya.
Sí, man. ¿Y qué es lo que te llevó a hacer los cortes de cabello? O sea, ¿qué es lo que te impulsó? ¿Cómo fue que comenzaste? Porque no nada más de, hoy voy a comenzar a cortar cabello, como
sí.
que no.
No, sí, pues yo crecí en un salón de belleza. Mi mamá ha cortado el pelo desde que yo nací. Ella trabajó con la princesa, con Erika, con varios salones y pues ahí conocía a muchas personas y pues siempre veía las sonrisas que tenían y cómo dejaban a sus clientas con una sonrisa. Y pues yo dije, ¿sabes qué? Yo quiero cortar pelo y también dejar a la gente sentirse bien. Yo me enfoqué más en lo de hacer pelo de hombre con diseños y todo eso, y pues desde ahí pues lo que me agrada mucho de cortar pelo es ver a las personas felices.
Eso es lo que importa,
sí.
Que se sientan bien, ¿verdad? Y como te decía, bueno, antes, todo esto tiene que ver con un tipo de arte, ¿no? Cuando estás cortando cabello, eres un artista porque puedes hacer tus diseños y le puedes dejar un ladito más alto, un ladito más pequeño, como el cliente le gusta y lo hace sentir bien, ¿verdad? Eres un tipo artista.
Y pues la verdad, o sea, no todos somos perfectos. Hay unos que tenemos la cabeza chueca y unos con el line-up para acá y así, hasta yo soy mismo. O sea, tengo el line-up más alto acá, el barbero o estilista, lo que sea, tiene que hacer ese arte y ver a la persona pues más decente y sentirse mejor. Y pues ha cambiado mucho that whole industry de cortar pelo. Y fui a unos barbershops hace poco y, o sea, se usa mucho con pintura de poner rojo, azul pues lo negro para que se le vea más oscuro y así. Es a lo que usted dijo que es un arte. Ya no es nomás cortar un fade y tómale ya. O sea, le echas el spray y todo eso hasta en la barba y pues se siente mucho mejor la persona y pues es el mejor, the best feeling I could get, seeing the person super happy after my haircuts. So that's what drives me.
Yeah, you make them feel good.
Yeah.
Like Aron.
Feel good insurance, yeah. And honestly, that's a catchy name. I really like that name for the Feel Good Insurance.
Thank you.
So how'd you come up with Feel Good Insurance?
We actually wanted to make sure that people felt good about getting insurance, not just for the sake of getting insurance. You know what I mean? So like a lot of people are like, oh, pues es que necesito agarrar aseguranza y pues dámelo más barato, lo que sea.
Yeah.
Pero lo importante es de que la gente al final del día se sienta bien de la misma manera cuando se van de tu silla y dicen, man, me siento bien aquí. De esa misma manera es como tenemos que hacer a la gente sentirse.
Sí, pues la verdad yo soy uno de esos que en cuanto vine y hablé con ustedes to get a quote, o sea, me agradaron los números que me dieron y dije, ¿sabes qué? De aquí soy y desde entonces pues aquí estamos y gracias a usted pues aquí andamos haciendo el podcast.
No, muchas gracias en realidad pues por tomar este espacio, ¿verdad? Porque sabemos que tan importante es tomar un espacio y el tiempo es muy importante para todos. Podría estar con tu familia, lo que sea, pero tomaste un pequeño tiempo para pues estar acá y te lo agradecemos mucho. Mira, ¿vienes de dónde en realidad eres? Vienes de México, me habías dicho, ¿verdad?
Pues nací aquí en Reno, Nevada, y me fui a México unos 3 años, tenía 7, o de 7 a 10 años, sobre ahí varios años y fui a la escuela y todo allá.
Muy diferente.
Pues la verdad he visto muchas cosas y pues por eso es que uno crece desde niño a muy temprana edad y pues es lo que yo siento que crecí muy rápido, pero pues a la misma vez me ha hecho una buena persona.
¿El resto de tu familia también hace lo mismo? Tu mamá me habías dicho que corta cabello también.
Sí, ya mi mamá igual corta cabello y pues ahí sigue cortando pelo ya varios años ya. Como que ya se está cansando yo creo, pero para eso sigo yo y para ayudarle para que ya no.
Pero es un family business ahora. ¿El resto de la familia también corta cabello? Nada más ustedes.
Nomás nosotros dos, pero creo que pues tengo 2 hermanas y un hermano y creo que una de mis hermanas ha hablado más o menos de que ella quiere empezar a cortar pelo también. Quién sabe, tal vez vamos a ser 3 de la familia, pero estaría chido ya.
Bueno, y tú también habías comentado, bueno, eres un emprendedor, eres una persona que quiere echarle ganas, quiere seguir adelante, quieres hacer muchas cosas y también habías comenzado a hablar de que posiblemente en un futuro te aventarías a hacer life insurance, seguros de vida, ¿verdad? Ahorita, dinos, ¿qué tan importante podría ser life insurance para ti?
Pues la verdad, acaba de fallecer uno de mis tíos y pues ahí es cuando vi los precios o sea, siempre dicen uno tiene que pagar para nacer y también tiene que pagar para morir. Desde entonces dije, ¿sabes qué? O sea, estoy muy joven y muchos de mi edad dicen, ¿para qué ocupo life insurance? Pero, o sea, es triste decir, pero ahora los padres entierran a los hijos. ¿Por qué? Porque pues se nos mete la adrenalina o puede ser algo de la salud. Desde entonces dije, no, ¿sabes qué? Voy a ir a agarrar life insurance. Y se lo recomiendo a muchas personas que nos están mirando aquí. ¿Por qué? Porque pues hacemos muchas kermeses y pues veo que aquí en Reno, Nevada nos ayudamos entre uno y el otro, pero ¿para qué dejar la familia en deudas? Es mejor tener la salud y hacer lo que se pueda para seguir viviendo tantos años, pero también hoy estamos aquí y mañana no sabemos. Por eso es que yo recomiendo el life insurance para todos los que nos están viendo. Y sí, pues me gustaría aprender de life insurance. ¿Por qué? Por lo mismo, como les dije a ustedes, de que cortando pelo veo a los clientes felices. So sería lo mismo con life insurance. Solo de saber que cualquier día nos podemos ir, pero no vamos a dejar a nuestras familias en deudas y así. So, yo pienso que sería un buen negocio para ayudar a la gente y pues, ¿cómo te diría? A lot of the people I know don't have life insurance.
Right.
You know, so it's something we don't think about, and it's something that's definitely necessary.
And it's because, like you said, you know, a lot of us think that we're gonna live forever. You know?
Yeah.
So la realidad es que we're not. You know,
and our lifestyle is like saying we're gonna live forever. You know, like I mean, some of us be drinking and driving, or some of us be
texting and
driving. Like you need insurance, whether it's life insurance, business insurance, whatever it is. So you gotta come to feel good insurance for sure.
Well, I know some people that really drive crazy, and you know, like they be texting and driving, and like.
And they have scat packs and getting pulled over all the time. Yeah.
They're like, hold on,
Yeah.
wait a minute, espérame. It's like, look at the road.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, for sure. And road rage is crazy out here, for sure. Not just out here, but anywhere. I've seen videos on Facebook where there's road rages and sacan la pistola y disparan. So it's like, there's two things right there. One, road rage, you need your car insurance por si alguien te pega, and two, life insurance, because like I said, people are shooting. So yeah, it's a cruel world, pero pues es la generación que está ahorita. So you know.
So in your line of business, what is something that you're looking to achieve? You know, like in your services, like what is one of the biggest goals that you want to achieve in your line of business right now?
That's a good question. I think for me it's being able to help younger kids.
Okay.
I've always been like that. Like, me gusta ayudar a those who are around me.
And you are how old? Sorry if you don't mind.
23.
So you're 23. Okay.
23.
So you want to help younger generations.
Yeah. So what I mean by younger is like, in this barber industry, there's 14-year-old barbers I've seen up on stage cutting hair at barber battles. 12-year-olds, like, it's crazy, and they're better than me. Like, I look up to them. I'm like, I want to be as good as you, bro. How long have you been cutting? Like a couple months. I'm like, how come I wasn't that good in a couple months? You know, like, what are you guys doing out here? But yeah, like, thankfully, Sparks High School has this is the second year I'll go, but it's the career fair.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I go to the school and I set up a little booth. I'm not good at setting up booths, so I don't have merch and all that. So last year I just took a pair of Jordans and I was like, let's go a rifar. And I felt good doing that because growing up, I always wanted a pair of Jordans, but I couldn't afford them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give away some Jordans for some high school kids. And everybody was cool about it. Everybody was hyped about it. And the best part is that a lot of people came up to me saying, hey, so where'd you graduate from? What can I do to get my license? Where can I work at, right? So for me, I see myself helping a lot of younger kids. I say even people my age or even older, if they want to learn how to cut hair or where to get the license, you know, feel free to just shoot me a message or whatever. I'm always trying to help people.
That's awesome.
Because I feel like sometimes I would try to look for that help. And yeah, my mom's a hairstylist, but it wasn't the same, you know, like she wasn't like that barber that I wanted to be.
Right.
So like I said, the haircuts are different. Now they're using paints. I went to barber battles where they use enhancements with colors and all that. So it's all the younger generation, and I want to be able to help them as much as they can help me.
Right.
So that's where I see myself helping younger kids coming out from high school and showing them like shear work or any skills that I have that I can show them. That's definitely where I would want to see myself.
What would you say is one of the funniest stories you've had cutting hair?
There's so many. And it's all about trasquilando a la gente.
Like, I look great.
Yeah, like one time I was having like the best conversation with my client. We were having good talk, like all that. And I used to face my clients away from the mirror. Now, like, I face my clients towards the mirror, the whole haircut. Okay. It's just more of a professional look. But before, I would face them everywhere and cut the hair and rotate them. And then I had already finished the haircut, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just make sure I didn't miss like any pelitos on top, right? So I grabbed we would do the 4 on top with the guard against the grain. And I don't know why I didn't find the guard number 4 as I was talking. And I thought I grabbed it, y que lo agarro, and I snap on the clipper and I started buzzing his hair. And then in my head, I'm like, damn, I missed that spot. Okay. Like, good thing I refined it, right? And I keep going. And I was like, oh, shit, I missed another spot. You know, I had the wrong guard. And then we were having such a good conversation that when I turned him around, I was like, hey, man, I got to tell you something. He's like, what's up? I was like, I used the wrong guard, bro. I went a lot shorter on your hair. And he's like, nah, you didn't. I was like, no, bro. He's like, you're lying. You're doing one of those like trending TikToks or something. And I was like, bro, I wish I could say I was. But he's like, I already turned me around. And he like turns himself around with the leg. And then he was just like, he looks at himself. I was like, bro, it's a free haircut. You know, like, don't pay for it. I got you. But yeah, like once I saw his face, it's kind of like, pero pues buena onda, and he's been my client even after that. I've been cutting his hair since I started, and I always tell him like, bro, let me make sure I don't get the wrong guard this time, you know, till this day. So that was one of like the funny ones, but crazy is.
But it's a good story to tell, you know, because you can also make like a success story out of it.
Yeah,
you know,
for
because
sure.
that person could have easily left anywhere else.
Yeah.
But they chose you.
Yeah.
You know, because you were honest with them and you made them feel good. You know, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
You know? And that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was one of them. There's another one where like I didn't know what with or against the grain was, so he said, let me get a 2 with the grain. And I was like, cool. But this is when I was at Paul Mitchell, so you had to sign a waiver and make sure like you knew that whoever's cutting your hair was a beginner, and if they mess you up, you can't do nothing about it.
Right.
So he's like, let me get a 2 with the grain. I was like, cool. And his hair was long.
What is the difference, real quick?
So,
if you can
so with the grain is como diciendo the way the hair grows, right?
Okay.
So if he has his hair going down, that's with the grain.
Okay.
If I go against, it's still against the hair growth.
Okay.
So with him, it was just like I think his past barber would do that. So he'd do with the grain. So I started doing with the grain. Well, that's what he asked for, and I didn't know what that meant. So I went against the grain. So lo dejé pelón. Pelón, and he had long hair, and you just see like a whole chunk of hair come off. And he's like, "Are you doing with the grain?" And I was like,
"Yeah."
I was like, "Bro, what does with the grain mean?" He's like, "What do you mean, bro? Like, you don't know what with the grain is?" And I was like, "No, like you just taught me something new." But what is like when you go with the hair growth? And I'm just like, yeah, I don't think I went with the grain. I think I went against it. He's like, let me see. And he spins himself around. No, estaba pelón. And I only cut him up a few times after that. But yeah, it's still good. And I see his older brother all the time, and I tell him like, hey bro, tell Daniel about that story. And it always cracks us up. But yeah, I've let a lot of people trasquilados, and you know, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be learning what I know now, you know. Right. So shout out to them.
Loyal clientele.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so a lot of trasquiladas are pretty much the funny jokes for barbers. Yeah, it's life. You learn, you learn from those mistakes.
y lo peor es que, bueno, lo mejor es que no fue que dijiste, pues, you know, like, le corté.
No, I didn't even want to finish. I didn't even want to, no quise acabar el corte. Like, yeah, after that, like, my hands were shaking. And I was like, should I finish? Should I just let him go? Like, what do I do? And I was like, hey, yeah, bro, you know what? Like, I'm sorry. Pero, yeah, pues, there's a lot of stories, but I think those are the main ones for sure.
The funniest stories. What about, what's a myth in your industry?
A myth?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by a myth?
A myth, something that it's not, like, people think it's true, but it's not.
There's, it's because it goes a long way with barbers. There's so many myths. It could be a myth about a barber talking about another barber, or it could be about, I don't know, there's a lot of things, so I wouldn't know how to answer that question.
That's okay, we can move on. There's not a lot of myths in the industry of barbers.
So like, what would be a myth in the insurance?
For example, for us, right, they say, oh, full coverage, right? They talk about, oh, I have full coverage. Well, what does full coverage mean to you? Full coverage means it covers everything. Well, that's a myth, because it's really not. Full coverage means that it covers the vehicle, you know, if in case you get in an accident, in case it's your fault, right? But doesn't mean that it's going to cover roadside assistance, doesn't mean that it's covered rental assistance, doesn't mean that it's going to cover uninsured motorists, doesn't mean that it's covered medical payments. Yeah. So those are myths that a lot of people think that they have, you know, like that's a myth in the insurance industry, right? For a car, particularly speaking. Right?
I think, well, man, that for insurance, I feel like it goes a long way, but for us, I mean, it could be like, how much is for just the trim? I was like, what do you mean just the trim? It's the same price, bro. There's no such thing as like, you know. So I don't know. That's kind of close. The closest I could get to with insurance, but yeah, I don't think there's a lot of myths in the barber industry. Yeah,
like it's pretty cut, right?
Yeah, it's just you come get a haircut, you get right, and you get going, you know.
Right.
And then I hate when the it could be the mom or it could be the wife always blowing up their phones. No sé qué es, but they're like, bro, no one calls me out there. As soon as I sit on the chair, everybody starts calling me. Oh, and then I gotta start rushing, and they're like, bro, if you don't hurry up, I'm gonna have to sleep in the living room. I'm like, oh, let me get, you know. Like, si saliste del trabajo a las 3, ¿por qué ya es hasta las 6? I'm like, pues, tuve que ir a cortarme el pelo. No, ¿para qué te lo cortas? ¿Para quién te quieres ver bien? I'm like, yo. Hey, but I think a lot of us like toxicas because that's when you know, like, they give you the best world out here.
Oh my God.
You won't have fun if she's not toxica, so you gotta have a toxica.
You gotta have a toxica.
You gotta have a toxica.
¿Ya vieron? Tienen que tener una tóxica en su vida.
100%.
What is one piece of advice that you can share with the listeners, with the people in the audience?
One piece of advice.
You're 23, so you're a young person that wants to obviously teach younger generations, but there's one saying that says you're never too young to teach or never too old to learn, right?
Yeah.
So, and
you really gave a good advice right there. That's a good consejo.
So what would you give?
Honestly, when it comes to the barber industry or any industry you're in, I feel like a lot of us come from having nothing, right? And this is something I've learned just in the last year. So a lot of us come from nothing and nos queremos dar la mejor vida, the best cars, the best jewelry, the best clothes. I say just live life a little slower. No vivas a la prisa, you know, don't try to give yourself everything right away. Because at the end of the day, cuando nos damos todos los lujos, we forget about who gave us the strive to start, right? At the end of the day, it's always God first. And si no fuera por Dios, pues no tuviéramos lo que tuviéramos ahorita, no tuviéramos la salud, no tuviera, you know, the time to be here with you right now. So good advice I would give a lot of people at any age is just enjoy what you have right now.
Right.
And you know, whether you want that luxurious car or jewelry, just it'll come sooner than later, you know. So yeah, I definitely say like enjoy what you have now and just put God first, and everything you want will come sooner than later.
That's awesome, man. That's great advice. Yeah.
So that's something I've learned from the last year, because yeah, I mean, once you start making the money you've never thought you will start making, and you want to buy yourself everything, and then once you have it all, and this goes for all of us, once we have everything we wanted, we forget that we even wanted that, and we want more. Y pues la verdad we don't, you know, no agradecemos lo que tenemos ahorita. So I would definitely say enjoy what you have now, and the rest will come later.
It's delaying that gratification.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So and I think you learned that. You know?
Yeah.
I think you learned that with what you have right now.
Yeah.
And then how excited are you for the baby that's coming?
Yeah, I'm having a baby, and I was super excited since the start, but once I found out it was a boy, I got even more excited. Like, I already have the design I want to do on his head as soon as I'm able to cut his hair. But my girlfriend doesn't even want me to line him up until no sé cuándo, but cuando esté dormida, I'm going to line him up real quick just to look fresh, you know. But yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, and I'm super excited, and I'm enjoying the journey of, you know, the pregnancy and stuff. And I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know how much the girl suffers, you know. Because yo estoy ronque while she can't even sleep. But I'm super excited to meet the baby.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah.
Any names?
We do have a name, but
it's a surprise.
My girl be gatekeeping, you know, so she doesn't want everybody to know the name right away. So you guys will find out soon.
Yeah. It's
a beautiful name for sure, and I really like it. We both decided on the name since before we even knew that she was pregnant, you know. So a lot of people ask me, like, was it a mistake? I'm like, honestly, I wouldn't even consider it a mistake. You know, we already knew that we wanted a blessing. So as soon as God gave us a blessing, we were super excited and happy.
That's awesome.
So I'm super excited. Can't wait.
Yeah, man.
And I'm young, but you're never too young and you're never too old. So we'll see how it goes. The thing I will say is that me dan más ánimos de ir a trabajar. You have to, you know. But
I
yeah.
mean, what other choice do you really have? You
Yeah.
know, like it's just to keep striving and moving forward. ¿Verdad?
Yeah, for sure.
Seguir adelante porque no nos queda.
Yeah.
Eso. Lo último, ¿dónde podrían las personas contactarte? ¿Cómo pueden ir a tu salón? ¿Cómo pueden hacer una cita o qué se necesita? Me imagino que ahorita tus citas están un poco retiradas.
Yeah, it's up and down, o sea, hay semanas donde estoy muy ocupado, hay semanas donde está un poco más despacio, pues como todo, hay trabajos muy ocupados, muy despacios, pero pues a mí me pueden encontrar en Instagram como king_Kutz, Kutz, and it'll be 3 Z's, so King Kutz, Facebook, Aron Munoz. I mean, I use Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, you name it. I'm on everything. And I'm always posting too, so you guys can always check out my work. I work at Prestige Hair Studio. You can search that up on Instagram too. Número de teléfono es 775-440-4185. I do say though, I suck at replying. And picking up phone calls, like, I don't know, I get lazy to talk on the phone or sometimes I get home and I just want to like rest, so I don't even check my messages. But shoot me a message and hopefully I get back to you guys, Yeah. And then the worst part is that they always say, I always see you on your phone though. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going through my messages. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure
llamas, les mandas mensaje y no te contestan.
And they're on their phone. Yeah. Yeah.
Literalmente estás diciendo, estoy viendo y no me estás contestando.
Sin tirar indirectas, ¿verdad?
No, directas.
Yeah, pero
Tenemos ejemplos.
Como al principio, like my girlfriend would always tell the family, like, because she would hear my family saying like, you never answer, and she's like, oh, I thought it was just me. I'm like, ya ves, cuando te contesto feel special. But yeah,
that's bad.
Yeah, I know it's a bad habit. I gotta get a little better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we learn.
Yeah.
And we get better.
Yeah, I need like 3 phones, just one for messages and one for each thing. But yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure having you here, man, on this podcast. It was kind of like a shorter podcast, but it's getting to know you, getting to know your trade, getting to know, people get to know you, which I know you have a big base, of followers already. But it also helps them know that you're a grounded individual and that you are a person that wants to help out the community, wants to help out many other young and upcoming people, that you don't see it as a competition but a way to better yourself and better them too, as it should be. You're here to help one another, and that's how we do here, and Field Insurance as well as a way of helping one another, helping each other out.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a great way for us to connect, and they always say surround yourself with like-minded people, and that's where our connection, our bond grows a lot more, because the same way you feel about your industry is the same way I feel about mine, and our strive is to make others feel good and release that stress from them, So I appreciate you, o sea, te agradecemos por todo lo que haces por nosotros y tu tiempo, como ese es muy sagrado, so muchas gracias y por tenerme aquí, and thank you everybody for watching this podcast. If you made it this far, it means a lot for both of us. So yeah, it was amazing. It was a great time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.